Do it a day, break the world.
Break the world, break it. So that's us, and welcome to another episode of the Insecure Musician Podcast. I'm lucky enough to be joined by a fine gentleman with a capital D. It's Mr. Jason English.
Hello.
How are you, sir?
I'm fine.
Thank you very much for joining us, dude.
Good, thanks. It's been eventful.
It's been eventful. Just getting the audio up. Brilliant.
Hi.
We are both absolute professionals at this. I know. So thank you very much for joining us, man. I really appreciate everyone giving us some time to talk some crap about music and just have a bit of fun. And if I'll give you a little bit of background info as to sort of why I'm sort of doing the podcast, and then I'm just going to try and grill you with some questions, if that's all right.
God, yeah, it's fine.
It's going to be super intense, and it's not really. It's fine.
It's as intense as Amber Heard.
nowhere near that intense.
Nowhere near as intense.
No, but so basically, I've been, as part of my music studies, so I've been finishing off part of my music studies this year, and I spent some time in London with a group of musicians that were all far superior to me. I've said to a few guests about this in the past. Do you know when you walk into an environment where there's what I class as real musicians, and you walk in, you think oh no, everyone's going to be so much better than me.
Yes, all the time.
I'm glad it's not just me, because that would have been a short conversation if she went, "Nah, I'm class. What are you on about?"
It's just like life, isn't it? Or we were on the schoolyard, and you're like, "Oh, there's Sandra with her 75 kids, clearly doing better at life than me."
Yeah, I know. But so, basically, as part of my uni stuff, I've been trying to get some conversations with musicians about, because we had this week together where we were putting bands together and we were rehearsing together, and I thought I was the only one for the whole week that was basically every day shiting myself, thinking, you walk into a jazz seminar and you think everyone's going to know so much more than me, or if you're gigging, everyone's going to be so much more comfortable than me, and but when I started speaking to folk, everyone was in the same boat and thinking, I don't feel like I'm good enough to be here, and I don't feel that confident in what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
And I think
I fully respect what you're on about, definitely.
Yeah, nobody speaks about it either, and it's just all we see is this end product at the end of somebody on stage or somebody releasing a song, and nobody sort of talks about the sort of the struggles of actually doing the thing, And one of the reasons,
no one really talks about the fact that they do music to start with as well, just because of that fear of, disapproval, or just you're wasting your life kind of thing. Yeah. So you're right, it is a bit of a niche subject, to be fair.
Yeah, and it's just the more that you sort of talk about this with musicians, it's everyone's kind of feeling the same thing, and it's I just thought if we can start a conversation, with different musicians from different walks of life, and people can see that everyone's kind of feeling the same things, it shines a light in it, and it kind of normalizes it a wee bit, and hopefully other people that might be struggling with thinking, I'd love to do that, but I don't want to make a tit of myself doing it. If they can see us talking about it and doing it, then hopefully it'll help someone else along the way.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
Get your messages. Darren, you're pure class. You did them in job.
I'll reach you pretty good, One of the reasons one of many reasons I wanted to speak to you was I've seen you post. It sounds really creepy if I say I've been watching you for a long time, and I don't mean it like that. I mean it in a flattering way that I've
in
watched
a heartfelt place.
In a heartfelt place, not like a weird stalkery way.
Okay.
I've listened to your stuff for a long time. I can't even remember how we got in touch originally. Might have been was it through Greenyer or I can't remember, to be honest.
Probably. He's
Probably.
like the mastermind behind friendships, isn't he?
He is. I was going to call him the social lubricant, but I don't know if he'd appreciate that.
I think you'd appreciate that.
Just call him the lube. Andy, the lube man.
They call me Greenyer.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, so I wanted to kind of to pick your brains a bit because I'd seen you put loads of instrumental stuff out over the years that I've sort of followed your stuff on SoundCloud and on social media. And you obviously put a lot of time and effort and care into producing all your instrumental stuff. And lately I'd seen you've branched into doing like working on your own vocals and putting some vocal stuff into your tracks. And like,
yeah,
I loved it. It was really Christy just seeing you add that new element. And at the same time, I'm doing the same, and like I'm interested to hear like how that came about. So like, how has that came about?
That's actually a really funny story. So I wasn't planning on it at all. I was literally doing. I had a friend who I've known for years. He's a wrestler down in Yorkshire.
Mm-hmm.
I had to say Yorkshire with the accent there.
Yorkshire.
A Yorkshire lad. Called Nathan. He'll probably be listening later. So hi, Nathan. He was asking us about a website called Fiverr, and he was saying, "I want a song. Can you write us the song?" So the original deal was, "I'll write the song for you, and then you find somebody else to sing over it," you know. And what happened was, he met this Italian guy or someone on Fiverr. He was a real arsehole to him. Just to clarify, the guy was a real arsehole to Nathan, not the other way around.
Yeah.
I try to charge him like the earth for really poor vocal work, like really poor. So he kept like jumping backwards and forwards to me and being like, "Is he doing anything here? Like, what is this? Really? Is this what? Like, have I asked him for the right thing, or have I asked him for something totally different and not realized?"
Yeah.
So like, much like yourself, I've done like, where like Newcastle College, I did like introductory music, and then all the way up to a foundation degree. With Greenie, believe it or not, funnily enough. So I've been in that sort of environment long enough to sort of pinpoint if the guy was taking the mic or not.
Yeah.
So just gave some constructive feedback, and I was like, "Look, like this guy's having your life for." I was like, "He's doing little work for big money." So I kind of called him out, and I was like, ask him if he can do a fry scream, and ask him if he can do like a mid and like a guttural. And the guy emailed back, and he didn't have a clue what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So I sent him some vote, like just like I didn't think it was good. So I was like, "Well, this is a high, did a high scream. This is a mid. This is a low. Like this is like a guttural, so it's like more throat oriented, etc." And he was like, "What?" He's like, "Why don't you just sing on my song?" I was like, "Are you joking?" He's like, "No." I was like, "Well, I'll give it a go." So I gave it a go. Watched the Zenna Screaming DVDs, you know, the Melissa Cross ones.
I've not. Is that
watched them?
Like an instructional?
It kind of is. It kind of isn't. So a lot of it's like the people she teaches with a few lessons in between. But the lessons she puts in between are like really important. So it'll tell you about like things like a pencil trick where like you envision a pencil on like the top of your lip and your voice has to go over that. And that's like basically like projection. But through my TikTok stuff, with his helping people with mental health and stuff on there. There was a guy who I became quite good friends with. He was showing his videos, and he does like how to scream like this guy, how to scream like this guy, and he would show you like the actual shape, like the shape formation, etc. And then from that, I was sort of like playing around with that, and it just sort of went from there. And then I seen this one video. You know, when you have that, like you'll know as a musician, when you have that one sort of explosion in your mind, and you're like, "Oh my god, that's how you do it! Like that is that." Yeah. So I watched this video of this girl called Jess, who I'm really good friends with now. And I just asked a question, and I was like, how do you go about projection? I was like, I can make the sounds, I just can't project. I was like, pencil technique's just not working for us. And she replied with a response video. And she was like, just pretend you're shouting at somebody down the street.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And I was thinking about it, and I was like, shouting down the street, and I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, like you automatically just project your voice to where they are.
Yeah.
So like just pretend like you're shouting at someone up the street.
And do you find when you're doing that, is it because it's for the first time in my life, I've started getting proper voice lessons, and it's the first time I've ever done it, because I've always been self-conscious. I always do backing singing, and I can do a little bit, but I'm not a strong singer. And that's what I want to be able to do eventually. I want to work up to be able to do the different types of sort of like vocal distortion and sort of the different types of metal screams. But I've been the same as you. A lot of time I can make the sound, and the latest track that I just released, there's some bits of sort of distorted vocals on there. But the only way I could get it is launching it. And after that, my voice was shot, and I'm like, I must be doing something wrong because I've blown my voice, and I couldn't record for the next day because I was knackered.
Yeah. So with the projection, the two things you need to think about is you're shouting at that guy down the street. When you shout on him, you're not putting any strain on your voice. So you need to replicate that feeling in your chest that you would feel when you were shouting, even if you just like spend a couple of days in like your quiet room or whatever, and just literally pretending like you're shouting down the street, and then get used to that feeling around your chest area, in your lungs. Then you'll not rely on your throat, etc. Your throat's more that I've found anyway, is that your throat's more about the shape that you make with your mouth, and you know, like how you pronounce certain words, or if you want to, like, say for example, you want to like overpronounce an S or an A, for example, like vowels, and you know, that would be my advice as a connoisseur of music, as a
connoisseur of the vocal scream. I love it.
Connoisseur, yes.
It's nice just to speak to someone about it, because it's like, for me, I think one of the biggest thing for me has been actually just having the balls and confidence to give it a go. Like, because for you, have you been singing like for your own music? Do you do lots of that privately for yourself, and have you developed that over a long time, or is it something you did just I
did for a while. So I had been practicing for about 8 months prior, and I just thought it sounded absolutely shocking, like absolutely shit. I honestly thought, like, and then you'll know yourself with you starting the singing and stuff, you'll think it's not good enough, and you're like, ugh, like it doesn't sound how you want it to sound in your head. But with me, the mindset I had was, well, hang on, if we step back, I was exactly the same when I was learning guitar. Like, I wasn't sounding as like who I wanted to sound like, etc. And it was getting over that whole you don't need to sound like somebody else hurdle again. But for my voice. So like a lot of people recently have said, like, oh, you sound a lot like Sam Carter from Architects. And I'm like, nice. Well, not really, because he's got his own twang. I was like, it's just the way like my accent is. Like, if someone spoke to us in the street, they'd never ever believe I'm from the Northeast, ever. they just don't sound like it. I've got like, you know. But if I was like, oh, yeah, man, I'm from the Northeast. Like, you'd be like, aye, Newcastle are shite. But but I don't know. It's like, it's just a funny one. But I've learned to sort of like it and learn it. And I think the more songs you do, it gets better with each song you do and each revision you do. And you start to see the results. And I think when you start seeing the results, that's when the love and the passion comes in. Yeah. And then when you get that obviously fuels the confidence. And then you have the fundamentals straight away to like just start doing really good stuff.
Mm-hmm. So how do you get, what's the way to phrase this? In the initial stages, it's really hard to, like, if you're not feeling confident yourself, so even if it's just you and you're in the house and you're recording your vocals and stuff, so it's really difficult to even try the stuff because, I mean, for me in my house, so there's my wife and my daughter are always knocking around, and they're really like lovely and supportive, and you know, I've got a lovely environment to do it in my house, a little space set out.
Oh yeah.
But it's really like so self-conscious when you're exploring stuff with your own voice and you think, I know this is going to sound like arse, but you know, it's how do we get over that? This is a practice, you know, like I'm trying something new here. It's really difficult and it's really hard on your ego because you want to present as being...
Oh yeah, massively. I suppose with me, I was just like, well, it was a bit easier because I write all my music anyway, which is rather loud. So I sort of didn't have that bit of anxiety to start with. But like you're right, like my neighbor, like she's like pretty much nearly dead. Like, and I don't have another.
I'm not meaning to laugh there, mate. That caught me off guard. I was not.
Just not. Just doing well and she's very healthy. But like I say, I mean, with the neighbor, she doesn't mind. And everybody's usually out when I do it.
Yeah.
So, but I had to do it a lot when everybody was out prior. So, and now I just crack on.
Yeah. And do you feel like you're over that hurdle now? Like you're not really asked?
I would say so, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it is, I would definitely say it is the hardest hurdle to get over.
Yeah.
Massively.
I think that's where I am with the singing side of things.
Yeah.
I'm happy to sing in front of everyone, and I've done it for, you know, in function bands for long enough, and for me, I've always been part of a group or a band, and I feel like there's a shared ownership when you do it like that, and it's not like that is your thing and you're solely responsible for that. But when you put something out by yourself, so I've just done that really recently, put my first thing out into the world that I've done by myself. Yeah, it's terrifying to do because
soul destroying. Absolutely soul destroying. You're exactly right.
It's really hard.
Vocal thing. Yeah. I released that first vocal thing and I was like, well, this is either gonna fly or it's gonna hit the ground like the sack of shit.
Yeah.
And it sort of hit middle ground, to be fair. It wasn't great, it wasn't horrible. Yeah. So, but the stuff I'm writing now is already getting a lot of people interested. I mean, that thing that shall not be named that I showed you earlier, for example, like I never would have dreamed of having an opportunity like that ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
And that's amazing.
So,
do you not think it's great though that this is like living proof that you've put yourself out there and you've tried something new and you've thought, like, I'm just going to drive and I'm going to go and get that. And you've kind of go at it 100%. And like, look what's happened. Isn't that mint?
Yeah. And I haven't even set time frame or anything. I've just been like, look, I'm going to write it out, see what happens.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, at least I've gave it my all.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that I notice with a lot of the students that I'm teaching just now is I've had some breakthroughs with a couple of students today actually, where students get to a point where they start writing something and then they'll get something off the ground and then they struggle with a bit and then they'll chuck it in the bin. that's shit. I'm not doing that. And then you go, but by doing that, you're training yourself to not be resilient and not see a project through.
Exactly.
And like the volume that I've just been sort of going through your SoundCloud and through some of the back catalogue before I was speaking to you, and this is what I'm trying to get at with some of the students, is saying, look, nobody is going to start writing a song and have zero problems from the beginning of the project to the end. It's a constant grind.
I could show you the first version of a song and the final version of a song, and they sound nothing alike.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll have like one or two elements of what I originally started off with.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of songs on the last album, well, my first full vocal release to date was from old riffs, which I thought, do you know what? I can't really do any more on that. I'm going to put that one side. I'm going to shelf it, and then when something comes to us, or I feel it's going to fit, then I'll dig it back out.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff that's on there is like riffs that I wrote from like 2008 and stuff. Like when I was just learning, like you know, like that was when I had like a basic, like I can remember the line 6 little tone ports.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I was when I had my line 6 tone port and pod farm.
Oh, and classic, man. Classic.
Just writing everything on the Insane.
Speaking of the line 6, I used to have one of my first gig in amps I had was the line 6 Spider. Was it a Spider 3? I can't remember what it was. But the Insane setting, there was a problem with mine, and when you played with it live, like the kick drum off the kick, if it got knocked at all, the vibrations would move the stuff around, and it would totally knacker all your settings. So you'd be like midway through a song and you'd have no volume because the vibration would like move the dial on the master volume, and you'd go, "Where's my fucking volume gone?" Oh, it's just because the kick drums moved that again. Thanks, line 6.
Thanks. You'd be a sound engineer's nightmare.
Aye. Love it, man. But yeah, so
do you like line 6 products, by the way?
I do, and do you know it's one of the great practice amps that I like. I've got one at school. I've got the big head and carb at school. And I still think, although it gets a load of shit, I still think it sounds great. Like for a little practice amp, the kids can dial it in so quickly, and I know it's not going to be, it's not going to be competing with any of the big boys, but the new stuff definitely does.
Definitely.
But
the
I'm
Helix
using
series
that.
Especially is really good.
I was swithering. I ended up with I've got the little, I don't know if you can see it, the little head rush behind us. And I'd swithered for ages between the Stomp and the MX5, like the head rush stuff. And to be honest, like they're all great. Like you cannot, I've played with them both live. The mint.
Oh yeah.
But it's just this.
I was gonna get a Helix, and then Positive Grid emailed us, and they were like, "Oh, by the way, we've got a sale on," and I was like, "Oh, have you now?"
Twisting the arm.
I've been using and then I've been using Bias Effects ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since, I'm using Bias Effects 2 now, and it's just unreal. Like the versatility in that software is just phenomenal.
I've never checked out the Bias, other than there was honestly, the little lunchbox heads thing that I'd seen, but I've never dived in.
Get the live arms. You can also get them in VST form. So I got it in VST form.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get a trial for it as well. And the trial is actually like nothing's really locked on it. To be fair, on the trial, just obviously once it's expired, you can't use it again.
Yeah.
So, but it's definitely worth trying. Definitely.
I'll check it out, man. I'm super lazy with my VSTs that I use. I've got quite a lot of I used the Dominator one for a lot of my lead stuff, the Audio Assault Dominator, which is just, it cost me like a $5, I've got loads of different plugins that I've spent loads on. The Dominator from Audio Assault and the RVX, which is based on like the Rev amps. I think it's absolutely sick for the price, and I just keep going back to the same ones, and I'm like, oh, sod it, I'm just going to use them. Pure laziness.
You do though, don't you? You get used to what you've got.
But again, it's do you feel like, especially in the guitar community, there's a lot of, what's the right word for saying this? There's definitely a lot of strongly opinionated people about what you should be using. Like, oh, you need to be using a Kemper, an Axe Effects, this or that, this plugin.
You're about the gent shit posting group by any chance?
Perhaps. but do you know what I mean?
For that group.
But you know, like, you feel bad, and you feel like you need to conform with what other folk are doing, and you think, actually, like, I'm happy with what I've got, and I'm happy with my wee setup.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to
seriously live for that group. Seriously. I love Emmanuel. I love him.
You love Emmanuel?
Yeah, or Emmanuel, or it's his Hugs brother every time. Doesn't matter what you write. Hugs brother.
Hugs.
My man.
And that's what this community needs more of, is just hugs and like acceptance, I think.
Hugs and brothers.
Absolutely. I love it. But that's what it's all about, is like, one of the main things I love about music is just all the nice people I meet. And like, I could sit and just talk to people all day, just from, different backgrounds. I love just, everyone's so lovely. And it's just nice when you meet nice people, isn't it?
That's exactly it, yeah.
And it's just like, it's such a lush community. That's why I'm thinking, if I can try and contribute somehow and put back and like offer some entertainment and a little bit of help to people, then like, that's all love, all hugs and love.
Yeah.
And you've been quite vocal about sort of the supporting with mental health and sort of being an advocate for that. Are you okay talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, advocate's such a strong word.
A strong word.
Strong word. Advocate.
I'm going to put you right up on a pedestal here and say, here we are.
I am the advocate of broken. So yeah, like, basically, like, through my journey as a musician, I'll get all philosophical. No one really cared, to be fair. So I found it hard to raise sort of support for like the ideas that I use, etc. I do suffer from things like anxiety in general. Went for a real hard time where I went through like really bad depression and stuff. And do you know what it is? Like, writing stuff and talking to people, etc. I found talking to people, I was like, I don't know, I don't want to pester people, but I found it really therapeutic, venting all that frustration and all that anger and all that sadness into the music that I write.
Yeah.
Even when I was just doing, like, when you first start listening to the old stuff, when I was doing Transcend.
Yeah.
Those are the years. Like, even then, like, the best album I ever wrote in Transcend was Polly Marie's Chain, and that was all about the journey I went through, like, mentally. And it was just, it's still to this day on, like, even on my Bandcamp, to this day, it's still the best selling album I've ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And that had no.
It is a cracker, mind.
At all.
I will say, if anyone hasn't heard it, well, I'll try and link all this in the podcast, so I'll get some deets up here. But definitely check it out, because it's an absolute spanker.
It is. It makes those ears moist.
As my old teacher said, it gives you the eargasm.
Yes, indeed.
Which is appropriate for a teacher.
Apparently so. So yeah, like I say, I toyed around with that, and then through lockdown, that's when I started branching out in a different sort of way. Sort of put my music on hold for a bit,
Yeah.
And for a laugh in like the October time was like, oh, I'll make a TikTok. Everyone's been ranting at us to make a TikTok. I'll make one. Posted the first few generic cringy videos like everybody else does. Please don't watch them.
Link in the bio.
Yeah, to be fair, my first ever TikTok was a Halloween drawing I did of a pumpkin. And it was me going, it was like, it had like the scream music in the background. And then it was just me going, what about some candy? that was literally it. That was literally it. It got like 5 views. It's going to go viral now. So it literally had like 5 views. And then I started like gaining like a following from a video I did where I was feeling a bit down, and I was like, do you know, I would want somebody in this at this time and place to tell me that everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And not from like family, like from an external source.
Yeah.
Like as if someone's reaching out off their own will, you know. And that's not to say like my family doesn't do that, of course they do, but I was like, you know, I would love it if a stranger on the internet told me I was going to have an amazing day.
Yeah, and spreading that positivity.
Yeah, and you know that I'm gonna absolutely smash it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'll try it. I'll see what happens. I waffled on for about 30 seconds, and then it had like something like 1,000 views, like in 24 hours, and I was like, oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think I found like my niche on here.
Yeah.
So,
and it's an amazing niche to have.
But yeah. Do you know, it's funny because my music on TikTok literally gets nothing. No one cares. But
we
if
care.
I tell them to have a good day, but if I tell them to have a good day, then that's it.
Yeah. So, and it's lush hearing you talk about that, because when you're saying about, so you were saying about yourself with anxiety, I'm right there with you, brother. Like, people have always assumed that I sometimes present as quite extrovert and quite confident, and I'm not.
Yeah.
Like we're
all secretly introverts.
Absolutely, and like I'm not confident to get through a lot of things in life. I put a character on, and it's draining, you know. And similar to you, like I mean, quite recently I had quite a tough time with sort of things going on with family, and like you're saying, if somebody's you can always speak to your family, and I'm lucky I've got a really lovely family, and we talk, and we love each other, and but like you're saying, sometimes it's nice for a stranger to be able to reach out, and it feels like it's easier it's sometimes sort of like, to talk to someone else.
How do I explain it? Like it alleviates that pressure, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And just like just to know someone, somebody's, it feels like someone's rooting for you out there, and like that's sometimes like that can be life-saving. That can be it's so positive.
That could be like, that message could be the difference between, like I've like and literally I have had this before. Literally the difference between life and death for some people.
Absolutely.
And it annoys me so much when you see people being like, oh, go on, like do it, or like no one will miss you and stuff like that. It's like, bro, like that could give them that push, like, and then you'll have that on your conscience for the rest of your life. Like,
it's just like this desensitization as well, like saying that feeling like that the people doesn't feel real on the internet. It doesn't feel like, even though I'm having a conversation with you now, like I feel connected to you having a conversation, but for some people this is just like, it doesn't feel real. They're so used to be, whether it's online gaming, calling someone a twat online, or egging someone on, but it's like, it's human beings, and like, we've got to be kind to each other, and I really liked what you were doing, and I really liked seeing your progression from where you've started and where you are now. I think it's lush.
Yeah, thanks.
And when you say no one cares about your music on TikTok, like, you have at least one person right here.
Yeah.
Although I'm not on TikTok, so I'm sorry, that might not be true.
All right, so we'll just revoke that statement then.
Although I have seen you dressed as Pikachu on TikTok, so.
I was dressed as Pikachu. Is that the video? Oh, you know what the video I posted on me? Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I liked that. I was I've been toying with the idea of TikTok, but I don't know. This is how bad I am, man. I've just got into Instagram. All I've ever used is Facebook, and then I was like, oh, actually, I need to up my game a bit here. So I'm just getting used to Insta. It's just I'm trying to branch out a bit, and I think I'm stuck in my ways of doing me Facebook stuff, and like
getting old.
I know.
It doesn't feel old. We don't like new technology now.
I know. It's scary. But way I man. Well, we're running to an end of the time we have, because these things only last for the 40 minutes. But it's been really lush just being able to speak to a lovely human being and someone else that's kind of feeling, pushes through the struggle and is doing really positive things in the community. So, thank you very much for your time. And if you're interested in being a returning guest, and you want to, hopefully at some point, once I've finished all my music stuff, I'm going to try and get some people together, and we can maybe do some stuff in person and have a bit crack and a bit whatever else. That'd be nice.
That'd be delightful.
When I say crack, I mean conversation. I'm not implying drugs of any kind.
I knew what you meant.
Good.
Or just showing of ass cracks.
Yeah. Well, there might be some of that with me. There definitely might be some of that with me. But what can we say? But yeah, thank you very much, my man. I'll edit from here. But thank you very much for your time, and I'll send you the recording before it goes out live. It's probably going to be about a week or so. So there's an episode going out tomorrow, and then yours will be out the following week. And I usually try and put them out on Saturday around about lunchtime when I'm having my sandwich, like.
Yeah. We should hopefully have that new song finalized by then. Nice.
Well, anything that you want to sort of push my way before then, I can stick it all in the link, and we can sort of see if it can direct some traffic.
It'll probably be the new album that's coming out when I decide when it's coming out.
Is that is it Hikari?
Yeah.
Nice.
It means light in Japanese.
Do you know, I'm super nerdy, and I knew because I tried to learn Japanese, and I was absolutely shit at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So again, thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure.
Anytime.
Take care of yourself, brother, and keep on rocking. Stay breezy.
I will. Just for you.
Thank you, buddy.
Take care, man. Love you.
All right, buddy. Love you, buddy.
Bye.